on YouTube. Well, you know what? Let me move this over here, see if I can get a better connection on it. Yeah, that works better. Okay. Here, so this is the first time I'm live on YouTube as well. It's the first time I've ever done live on a laptop before. So it's kind of complicated. As you can see, I got the microphone ready and all that. Not your typical live. We are changing our way of doing things on our podcast, Widdershins. So we will be doing that on YouTube, and maybe I'll be doing that on TikTok as well. I just got to make sure and play the songs that we have licensed to play, and none of the copywritten stuff. Hey, y'all. Hey, Attitude Caffeinated, how are you? So I'll also be over here on YouTube. You can watch later, but we are going to be doing the Widdershins podcast with video as well. So you're behind the scenes right now. The show is going to start, officially in about 4 minutes. Hey, Brian over there, how are you? I'm getting ready to do the Widdershins broadcast on YouTube and TikTok in addition to the normal audio that we do it. We're changing things up greatly, the way that we're doing things over at the podcasting. God, I look so pale on YouTube. I hope that's not real. I look better over here. I look really white. I look olive skin motherfucker over here, white ass motherfucker over here. Well, whatever. But Marta doesn't want to be on camera right now because she hasn't had her hair did and didn't like her hair today. So you might hear her chiming in. Hey, from Switzerland, how are you? I'll try and keep an eye on the various chat rooms, but we're doing the podcast Widdershins in just a couple minutes here. Going to have our guest, Father Sebastiaan from the Vampyre community. I'm convinced he's the head vampire, but maybe I'll ask him about that. As far as I know, he's the head vampire. We have a very strong vampire community in New Orleans, so just a perfect person to have on. What we're doing now on Widdershins is we're getting ready for WitchCon, which is March 3rd to the 5th. Largest online magical festival in the world, witchcon.com. Check it out. And we as presenters are contractually obligated to share the event to our social media. So we like to blow that shit out of the water. We have shared the fuck out of it. We're in the middle of a marathon. We normally broadcast about 5 in the afternoon or something, but sometimes we're doing 2 broadcasts a day to try and interview as many of the presenters at WitchCon as we humanly possibly can. Which is requiring almost every day, sometimes twice a day. Maybe we'll do 3 one day, but we want to interview as many of them. TikTok is too laggy. I jumped ship. Okay. Yeah, I moved the phone, so hopefully it's not lagging as much. But in a second, I'll start the other stream, and hopefully that won't just lag everything out. This is the first time doing this. So if it totally fucking blows up in my face, you're going to be able to see it. Normally on the audio version, you wouldn't know. But I have a good poker face anyway, so you wouldn't even know anything was going wrong. Let's see if I can lose the hat now. It's been a bit cold out
here. Your hair looks delightful.
Does it?
Yeah.
My natural highlights?
Yeah.
Okay. See, normally they can't see my natural highlights on Widdershins. That sucks for them.
Thank God for today.
Thank God for today. So I keep getting people in my circle suggesting you, so I thought I would drop in. Well, hey, follow if you're not following. I go live pretty often. You want to get notifications when I go live. Have fun over here in Birchland. It's very different than most of Witch Talk, and that's a good thing. We have 1 minute till the audio broadcast commences, and I play the intro song, and then I will be typing on my phone a bit, sharing it all over fucking Facebook and social media. Okay. Margaret Maine, how are ya? Yeah, so I will be fucking with my phone. I'm not ignoring you. That's just part of the job. That's we are probably going to be looking at different streaming services for the audio, and that's one of the damn reasons right there. Oh dear, what happened here? Okay, we're getting ready to start. Things screwing up on me already. hold on, I gotta put the picture in there again. And I gotta click go live. Okay, my songs are where they're supposed to be. That part, no, it is not. Unfortunately, I have. Oh, hey, welcome, Widdershins. And the mic will be open during this song, so we will watch our mouths. And away we go.
When the blood gets dusty, when your blade gets busted, Widdershins, Widdershins. When the room smells funny, when the hack sticks your money, what's gonna save you, honey? Just Widdershins, Widdershins. All of you bitches, and all your overkills. It's time to start listening to Widdershins, Widdershins. Widdershins, 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 Well, you're a mystic sister and you got. You might be pagan and you want community. You're an ex-magician who tells you how it will be. And he claims that the door is locked, he only has the key. He claims that he's an elder, but he's only 33. He's got married, he married Pacha.
Okay, so this is just me sharing the hell out of the damn show. Please stand by. No, I don't want to take a tour right now. Thank you. Widdershins Radio.
So if you fuck my friends and me, we'll let you in our coven. And if you want a family, we'll put one in your oven.
Ooh, I hope that wasn't too community guidelines-y for TikTok. Yeah. They even said the F word, though, too.
Yeah, that might be too much.
Yeah.
Put one in your oven.
Yeah.
Algorithms are smart.
From Christian right-wing preachers, we shouldn't have to fight each other like some feral creatures. I hear there's trouble brewing with the Vudons and the Wiccans. They're sacrificing values instead of little chickens. And some folks scare the new age kids because they're easy pickings.
Sharing the show, people. Sharing the show. Look at this.
I thought being pagan meant we all should get along, and that every path has value, and there is no right or wrong. But every time there's power, there are always those who grab it. Someone comes along and takes a whack at Lori Cabot. Some other bullshit's back like Elmer Fudd out hunting wabbits. They end up coming off like Lou Costello and Bud Abbott. Which war? Which war? Which war? Which is yours? Which war? Switch war?
Okay, so if you're on Facebook, you can now find the link for the show all over the damn place. Well, I got fucking there we go. Freedom of speech. Yeah, I got kicked off of Twitter right after Elon Musk started his free speech thing. All I did was threaten to hex the GOP. Well, like, there's something wrong with that.
Everybody must be free to do as she pleases, no matter if they follow Satan, Buddha, Bob, or Jesus.
Hey, okay.
Hello.
Hey, Sebastiaan. We're going to go live in just a couple seconds here. Okay. The Daryl Howmore Orchestra on Widdershins with the Widdershins theme song and the readaptation of the classic song Witch Wars. We are live now on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Tumblr, SoundCloud, fucking all over the damn place. But today we're also on TikTok and YouTube. So you can see behind the scenes, see my dog's ears over there, that you get to see the magic behind Widdershins. We are in the midst of our Witchcon Marathon. Witchcon comes up March 3rd through 5th, and it is the largest online magical conference in the world, y'all. $5 gets you about 100 witches and workers of all the various fields of the craft. Our guests today, of course, included, and you get to watch it forever. It's archived forever. You can learn so much at WitchCon. So the WitchCon Marathon is we have been trying to interview as many WitchCon presenters as one show humanly can do, which sometimes has been, a couple times a day, a couple shows a day. Today, I think today we've only got the one show. Tomorrow we have one. We have Star and Ravenhawk at I think 11:30 Central. And I don't think we have another one scheduled, but that doesn't mean that we won't schedule at the last minute. Widdershins has picked up more on download than live views, but I'm hoping the new format and the way we're doing it now will change that. We've already got way more live views than we would normally have in the podcast because we're on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously. Hopefully this won't challenge my bandwidth too much, but if it blows up in our faces, you're going to get to watch it. Well, you can't see on the camera because he's on the audio side. Father Sebastiaan, a good friend of ours, even though I've only seen him one time. We met back in Hollywood when we lived there. Father Sebastiaan comes from the vampire community. I don't know if he's published a book yet, but I know he's authoring some stuff. And just a man about the entire country going to these vampire balls all the time. I always see him in dressed to the nines, going to fabulous places. Father Sebastiaan, welcome back to the show.
Hey, how you doing, everyone? Greetings and salutations from the back lot at Universal Studios.
Are you?
Yeah.
We go there all the time. It was so close to home,
Yeah, I haven't been to Harry Potter land here. I go to Florida more,
Mm-hmm.
and I live a mile away from Hogwarts.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we haven't been to the Florida one, but we used to go to the Hollywood one all the time.
Yeah, I'm missing the butterbeer.
The Simpsons stuff, man. The Simpsons ride and the whole Simpsons village. I don't know if they have that one too in Florida. Hopefully they do. That was fun. That was some fun shit.
They have the donuts, the famous giant donuts from Simpsons.
Yeah. And they had the pub and what's the beer? Duff beer for me.
And Moe's Tavern.
Yeah, Moe's Tavern there. It was good time.
Cool.
He's a Hollywood one. Back lot. So, yeah, I heard you were writing a book. Are you publishing yet, or is it coming out, or anything you can tell us? What
I've done is I've gotten together with a couple other authors, and we've created our own imprint. I had 2 books with Wiser Books, Sanguinomicon and Vampire Magic, and I combined them into a new edition that's revised that is coming out on Walpurgisnacht, or as pagans call Beltane, May 1st on Amazon as a Kindle edition. And then the hardcover you can buy from my website, endlessnight.com. But the great thing is that Wiser has really treated me well. It was great working with them. But I wanted to be able to revise the book more effectively. And going through a revision through a publisher is really difficult. So I created my own imprint called Bash Books for Sebastiaan Books. I'm getting all 4 of my books collected into a collection. It's Mysteries of Paris, The Guide to the Dark Side of the City of Lights, which is a ghost book, haunted Paris. Then I have taken Vampire Magic and Sanguinomicon, which were published by Wiser, and I put them into a new book called Path of the Vampire Witch, the Strigoi Codex. And it has all of the books. And Strigoi is my magical tradition, like how pagans have traditions, and Wiccans have traditions, like Alexandrian and Gardnerian and Dianic. We have our own tradition of vampirism called Strigoi. Then I have a book for beginning vampires called Black Veils. which is just today launched the audiobook.
Oh, really?
So
Hey, if you
go to
ever
Audible and
need a narrator for one of your audiobooks, man, they tell me I got a good voice.
Well, you do have a good voice. I wish I knew when I booked my voice actor. He was on Star Trek.
Oh, wow.
So
Like
I
Star
kind of
Trek or
fell in love with him
TNG?
today. He was like one of the red shirts that would get killed.
Oh
all
my
the time.
God. All right, so classic
So-
Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty good. His name's Jack Nolan. He's got a mid-Atlantic voice, but your voice would do too. So, and then I have another book with Dr. Heather Winston Graham, Witham Graham, excuse me. Dr. Heather, I call her, is a professor at Otis University. She was about to be a rabbi and then took a right turn and became a doctor of mythology and folklore from UCLA.
Oh, wow.
And we're writing the history of the vampire community in the 1990s.
Oh, wow.
And that was like 95 to 2000. The 90s was the foundations of what we know as modern vampire culture. So that book is currently just titled The Vampire Sebastiaan in honor of the vampire Lestat from Anne Rice's novels. And that will be coming out next year. And that will be the first of a series of 3 books. So that's all my writing. I'm collecting all my writings into 4 books. The Vampire Sebastiaan 1, 2, and 3, Strigoi Codex, Mysteries of Paris, and Black Veils.
Wow. Well, you're a busy man. Well, I live in a world of witches, of course, and now in New Orleans even more so. And I often we'll be talking, on a live or somewhere where I'm out, on camera, about the powerful vampire community in New Orleans and how they're slowly going to own the entire town. They own all of the best stuff. My favorite restaurant, my favorite speakeasy. They're opening an apothecary, and then they're all witches. They're surrounded by weird shit all day. That's what we do. And so many people go, "What? You got vampires?" Like that's something strange, right? So, can you tell people that don't know anything? It's like, what is the vampire community? What are you all about? What are your what kind of traditions?
There's many different perspectives. New Orleans has a very vibrant vampire community, but they're not really a culture per se. We have the Sabretooth clan, which are my Fang clients, which are a big family. My Fang making business, Sabretooth, caters to the lifestyle vampires. And you can divide vampires into 3 basic categories. You have your lifestyle, which is your fashion, your sanguine, which is your blood drinker, and you have your psychic vampire, which is energy vampire. But psychic vampires and sanguinarian vampires are as diverse as there are people that claim those titles. So, for example, Strigoi, which is my vampire tradition of the vampire witch, it mixes witchcraft with vampirism, and we can't define ourselves by psychic, sanguine, or lifestyle. The Strigoi is more than that, because we have traditions and culture. So what I did was, back in the 1990s, I had dreams of vampires, and I got my girlfriend. I went to me and I'm having dreams of vampires too, and her name was Dawn. How cheesy, right? How cliche. And Dawn wanted to get fangs for the prom and go as a vampire because we were both dreaming about vampires.
Yeah. Prom dress and fangs. That's all you need.
What's that?
Just a prom dress and fangs. That's all you need.
That's absolutely true. So what happened was I went to my grandfather, who was an orthodontist. He said, "Sebastiaan, are you crazy, a Satanist? You're wearing fangs." I'm like, "What does fangs have to do with Satan?"
Yeah, I've never seen a Satanist with fangs.
Well, my grandfather thought I was a Satanist. So he goes, "Get out of here. Don't talk to me about it." I went to my aunt, who's also a dentist. They go, "Aunt Dottie, I'd really love to we call her Dr. D in the family. I'd really love to get fangs. Do you know where I can get them done? And she's like, no, let me look into it. And she looked into it. And while I looked into it, I went to a comic convention where there was a Vampire the Masquerade game being run. And there's a guy making fangs at this hotel in Elizabeth, New Jersey. So on November 3rd, Dawn and I took our Sunday afternoon and we went down there. And Dawn was like a perfect vampire girlfriend. She was a witch, she was a vampire, and she was a lichen. She was a werewolf, and she had some fairy blood. Definitely had fairy blood. Sadly, she passed away in 2002. And she was not very. She had lupus and Lyme disease, so she knew how things work. But what happened was we got our fangs, and that introduced me to the vampire culture. And I started looking for other people into the vampire lifestyle beyond the role-playing game, Vampire the Masquerade, which is an incredible mythology and has really contributed to the vampire subculture. And I couldn't find anybody, so I moved to New York. I started hanging out in the East Village, and I managed to get a prosthodontist to teach me how to make fangs. And for 18 months, I waxed on and waxed off like the Karate Kid. From the end of 2000, the end of 1993 to 2000. 1993 to Christmas Day of 1994, where I made my mom my first pair of fangs. So I would go to the dental office Wednesdays while I was in college and repair dentures and fix dentures to kind of do the Karate Kid thing, wax on, wax off. Literally, it was waxing on and waxing off.
Yeah, I got a story for that. Just probably like 96. I was in Northern California doing some work with Earth First. And a big party one night, and I ended up in the bushes in some meadow with some girl. I wake up, it's blinding sun out. I have no sunglasses or coffee. And I often tell people, Satan only exists in me before coffee. If you get in between me and the coffee, you're going to meet him. And so I'm staggering through this fucking meadow, looking for the base camp. Don't remember where I am. And I see all these dark cloaked figures around a fire. And I get a little closer, and I can see they have one of those stovetop espresso machines in the fire. And they said, "Good morning to me, brother," right as I noticed the pentagrams around their neck. And he said, "Would you like to invoke the goddess caffeine with us?" And I said, "Absolutely, I would." And I sit down. They're all like, they've got their witch robes on, and they got their pentagrams and all that. And about, towards the end of the first cup, I noticed this other thing. They all had their canines capped as fangs. These and I just never even talked about it. I looked and kept drinking my coffee and thought, well, I'm not going to ask any questions right now. It's too early to talk. But I may have met some of the early ancestors of the vampire witches back then.
Oh, cool. Well, what happened after that is I came into this world that you're talking about here. The coffee gods that be, the undead coffee gods. My friend Meijin would really enjoy hearing about the coffee gods because she's a coffee vampire.
Right on.
So I made my mom first pair of fangs, and I started making fangs in the January of 1995. I set myself up on St. Mark's Place in New York, and I started meeting people who were vampire lifestylers. And there was such a crossover with the witch community. It was crazy.
Yeah, all the vampires I've met here are witches too. And some of them, they'll have just like pentagram on or something like that. Somebody in the chat room over here is saying he got his fangs in New Orleans at Boutique de Vampire.
Yeah, they make fangs there.
So I think the question that most people are going to have when it comes to vampires is about the blood. You mentioned the sanguinarians. They drink blood, but I imagine there's various parameters to that.
Well, there's a whole variety of different types of vampires, sanguine vampires. There's a whole variety of different psychic vampires. There's a whole variety of different lifestyle vampires. Then we have what we call black swans, which are kind of like girls in a gay club. Okay, black swans are our version of an ally.
Okay, black swans.
So,
All right.
Black swans are often consensual donors.
Okay.
So, not always. Like my mom's a black swan.
So they just let you drink enough, not enough to kill you.
Well, black swans are not always donors. That's
okay.
One thing I want to make clear. Black swan is not a term for donor. Black swan, a lot of black swans are donors.
Okay.
Okay. Black swans are allies of the vampire community. They're very, very comfortable with vampires. They know the culture, but it's just not their identity.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
What happened was, there's a whole variety of different sanguinarians. There's some sanguinarians believe that they need blood to drink to be healthy, and they're not metaphysical at all. Okay. They think there's a scientific reason why they need to drink blood. Science has not proven that yet, but I have a blood craving myself, and it's not as bad as other people. I know people that have to drink on a weekly basis or a daily basis. But one rule that I have at my Endless Night Vampire Ball events, it's takeout only. No drinking blood on the property.
Okay. Takeout only, right on.
Excuse me, I got a cough going on.
Yeah.
Then there's med sangs who believe that they, that's its own culture in itself. And a lot of them don't relate to the vampire subculture because it's about blood. It's not about aesthetic or the mythology or anything like that. Then you have vampires who believe that they get energy from the blood, life force to the blood. But that kind of connection, drinking blood or sanguinarianism is really, really fucking dangerous.
Well, yeah.
Okay. I don't recommend psychic feeding as enough. I can't recommend energy feeding as enough because you never know what you're going to get in someone, and you never know where someone's been or what they're going to do.
Yeah, we lived through AIDS, and it's still around.
Yeah, but the thing is sanguine feeding. So you have to use a lot of medical techniques to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to worry about cuts, bruises, sterilization, consuming the blood. Like the human mouth is a very dirty place. It's dirtier than a dog's mouth. And putting that on a wound, not a good idea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And dogs, hell, they eat cat poop in their own puke, and our mouths are dirtier. Well, so like and well, hell, most of my sexual life, before people start having unprotected sex, you had to get a blood test because of HIV and stuff like that. Do you have are you guys safe like that?
That's a very common practice. The only real way that sanguinarian feeding really works safely is if you're in a monogamous couple.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the risk, and where both people are completely committed and they've been tested, and HIV can hide in the blood for up to 6 to 8 months before you're detectable. I mean, I'm not a medical person. I'm not actively practicing sanguine, so it's something that I don't need to worry about. But those people who practice it do. And you got to go get a blood test if you want to participate in that, and make sure both parties get blood tests and you're transparent. And just like you would if you were going over someone's house with an old person and getting a COVID test before they come over.
Yeah.
So
vampirism.
blood bonds or fluid bonds are where you're clear and honest about what's in your blood.
Uh-huh.
So constant testing is good. I suggest a vampire get tested every month.
Mm-hmm. Well, then there's the lifestyle vampires. What's the lifestyle?
The lifestyle vampires, again, are a whole diverse group of people. It's mainly an aesthetic, philosophical, and cultural element of the vampire community. Okay, my book Black Veils goes really deep into the vampire culture. Everything from oysters, chocolate, music, art, fashion, dance, like every little bit, every Black Veil is a little kind of teaser leading into the vampire culture, symbolism and all sorts of things. And I'm really excited to have the audiobook out. You can all download it right now on Audible, Black Veils 888 edition. And I literally just, Amazon emailed me right before we got on the air here, and they said it was done. And Jack Nolan did a really good job. He has a mid-Atlantic accent, which is exactly what I wanted.
Can you tell everybody the title again?
Black Veils, Master Vampire Edition 888 is now available on Audible, and Kindle.
And Kindle, right on. Well, very cool, very cool.
If you want a hardcover copy, I do special signed copies on my website, endlessnight.com.
Yeah, I think we have witches like that too, where it's just a lifestyle thing. They're not necessarily practicing magic. I saw a lot more of that when Wicca was the dominant force. Plenty of Wiccans didn't practice magic, which I would think is the hallmark of a witch. But yeah, we get the lifestyle types. A lot of the goth kids. Hell, I was original goth when I was a kid. They didn't have a goth yet. We had a horror rock, which is spooky punk rock, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, at WitchCon, I'm going to be going into all of this, but the main thing that I'm going to be talking about is the history of the vampire community and the history of the werewolf community.
Mm. Now,
so
in movies, y'all don't get along.
Yeah, right.
But you were talking about somebody that was both, who passed away.
I mean, real werewolves, people that identify as werewolves are called Therians.
Uh-huh.
And shape-shifting is something that is very interesting. Therians believe that they have a soul of an animal. Okay, like a wolf or a bear or a lion, and really identify with their totem as their first identity.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of confusion about Therians and otherkin. Otherkin are usually chimeras, like dragons or unicorns or griffins or elves, and mythical creatures. So in Black Veils, I explain the difference between the two, of a Therian and a otherkin, because both of those groups are kind of, brush up against the vampire community. They use our social events and our networking to be able to meet each other as well.
Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, for the lifestyle vampires, you're out late, night people, I would think. I know you have
not all the time.
Okay, I know you have fabulous vampire balls all over the country.
We do, and that's when I stay up late.
Yeah.
So this year we have 4 major events, and then we have smaller spin-off events called salons, and salons are more of like a lounge, and they're usually about 150 to 300 people, and it's a formal. It's basically a vampire court without the royalty.
Okay.
Okay. A salon is great because it's about art and connecting and culture and interaction. And what salons are is usually they start at like 8 o'clock with a dinner called a convivium. Then at 9 o'clock, there's the shadow hour, which is for cocktails. And then at 10 o'clock, we read a Black Veil and welcome everybody. And then we turn the music up. And so the first 2 hours are for in-person socialization, where we have food and snacks,
Okay.
and sometimes a human buffet with sushi.
Okay.
And then at 11 o'clock, we have a burlesque show, and at midnight, we have a communion ritual, which we exchange energy through the whole room, and we howl like wolves to summon the dead, because it's the beginning of the witching hour.
Right
And then at
on.
2 o'clock, we usually end with the time warp.
Marta has a
Little rocky
question.
horse.
Is there an initiation process?
I was
at all?
about to ask, do you have closed practices? Is there an initiation process?
For the black veils, no. Okay, black veils are available to anybody. Okay, everyone is welcome as long as they're not a dick.
Okay. It's closed if you're a dick. All
Well,
right.
if you're a dick, take a hike.
Yeah.
We put ourselves on good, positive energy. And the black veils vampirism is different from a lot of other traditions of vampirism. Black veils is kind of like the basic tradition of vampirism, and then the initiatory structure goes through Strigavai, which is a magical order called Path of the Living Vampire Witch. And we're a 501c3 church registered in California. And we're the world's first recognized vampire religion.
Wow.
But that is an initiatory system that is for people who choose to initiate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 3-degree system with 3 basic degrees and 4 deeper degrees.
You
And
mentioned,
that's fairly secretive.
yeah, well, initiative things, yeah, they should be. You mentioned earlier, now I had always assumed you were the head vampire, but you mentioned that you have royalty.
No, a lot of fashion vampires and stuff like that in the past and here and there have kind of like, when you talk about club kid royalty in the club scene,
Yeah.
okay, or gothic royalty,
Okay.
you're talking about people who are known in the community.
Okay.
Okay, that's different from people who try to take it too far and call themselves king of the vampires, which I think is funny as hell. You can call yourself whatever you want. That's the fun role play of it. But if you take it too far and you're kind of like, there was a time when there was a bunch of people calling themselves king of different regions, like the king of Knoxville, Tennessee, or the king of Mobile, Alabama, and they call themselves king of the vampires. And I'm like, all right, and they've been in the scene for 3 years.
How do you become king?
You just declare it.
You just declare it.
And as Joffrey and Tywin Lannister said in Game of Thrones, he's like, I'm the king. And Tywin goes, no king calls himself king. No true king calls himself king. There's self-initiated titles.
Yeah.
People can call themselves what I want, but my event, everybody that comes in the door is a king or queen.
That's cool. That's cool. But then there's somebody up on a throne somewhere in the center part. No, okay.
No.
Well, I'm learning a lot about the vampires, y'all. Are you?
I own 3 thrones, and I will tell you that I share them with everybody that comes in a photo booth.
Yeah, they tend to not be very comfortable chairs. I'll say that.
No, thrones aren't very uncomfortable. So you just want to do a quick photo shoot of them and get out.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so y'all, we're in the midst of the WitchCon Marathon, and the F-15s just flew by. Now we got a helicopter, so hopefully you can hear everything. WitchCon is coming up March 3rd to the 5th. Now I'm going to read the thing to y'all. Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm going, baby. Bring the magic to you. March 3rd to the 5th, 2023, join the world's largest live stream magical conference featuring nearly 100 witches and conjurers on live video from across the globe. Watch classes live and then rewatch them as often as you like on demand. Witchcon online presenters are the preeminent masters of the magical arts and hail from across the rainbow spectrum of the occult and spiritual practices. Registration is limited to 1,000 attendees and includes all video classes, rituals, and performances, as well as access to our recordings of every day after, or every class after the event has ended via our on-demand library, so you won't miss a single magical moment. Attendees and fans will love the live shopping in our virtual vendorium featuring powerful ritual tools, signed books, and exquisite jewelry, and of course, handmade spellcrafts. Our virtual meet and greet lets attendees and fans alike meet and chat with presenters live on Zoom, and it's a great way to know your favorite teachers. And we get really fucked up. It's some crazy shit happens. One of our guests apparently went topless on the Zoom meet and greet, and we missed it. But you can check. Yeah. Well, no, but then there was Lilith. Oh, Lilith had the bra on. Well, we don't know about Ellie. WitchCon Online was streamed on the Hex Education Network on Crowdcast, a web-based platform with no need to download. And did I hit the thing with 1,000? Well, y'all, this thing can only have 1,000 attendees or they run out of bandwidth. And before Christian Day left on one of his fabulous vacations, he told me that we're close to selling out. So you need to get your ass over there to witchcon.com and secure your spot. $95 for 100 wishes, or about 100 wishes. So like $1 a witch. You're going to learn so much stuff and you'll have it forever. And it's, I know a lot of you don't like to read books. You can just watch the videos forever. This is the third year of WitchCon, and I'm still watching videos from the first year, man. I can't keep up with it. But we are trying to interview as many of the WitchCon presenters as we can before the event. I can't interview myself because that would be weird, but I'm going to be there too. But Father Sebastiaan, what's your workshop about?
My workshop is on the history of the vampire world.
Ooh.
And the history of vampire culture and community. And also it's going to focus predominantly from the perspective of the Therian real vampires and real werewolves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to present this because the concept of the world of darkness is Vampire the Masquerade is a role-playing game that really influenced the vampire subculture really heavily. And that's where the idea that werewolves and vampires hate each other and are at war is from the mythology of the game, the lore of the game.
Really? Okay.
And I got to say in the World of Darkness documentary about the game and the phenomenon around it, I got to go on the documentary and say that the battle between werewolves and vampires is bullshit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Some werewolves take it really seriously. They think they have to hate vampires. Werewolves are like our brothers and our cousins. And there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of Therian vampires. And it's really cool. And I'm going to get into the details on that and the history of the vampire subculture from the first organizations to the modern incarnations of it.
Let's see. Now, right there, y'all. That's fascinating. Where are you going to learn that? Now, I was looking at your bio yesterday. You got a hell of a lot of Hollywood work on there. I know you're on Ghost Adventures a lot. Where's some of the other things? There was a couple of documentaries that I wanted to remember to watch.
Yeah, I'm really not a camera person.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult. That's why my podcast, The Father Sebastiaan Experience, is I don't do a lot of episodes because I'm just not into being on camera. So I've turned down a lot of ghost shows because, they can't keep it real all the time.
Yeah.
So I've been on Ghost Adventures. I met Zach Baggins in Paris, and he's been a really good friend over the years. And he's doing really, really well. I'm really proud of him. I'm very happy for him. Opening his museum and doing all the different spin-off shows. He's so busy, I haven't seen him in a little bit. But I usually go and visit him for his birthday. And I got to go on Ghost Adventures twice, once in Paris and once at the Haunted Museum. And I got the best gift of my life after my wife. out of it, a friendship with Patty Negri, the witch, the good witch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
how we know each other.
That's how we met you.
And I met Patty on the set of Ghost Adventures.
She was our first in-studio guest on Widdershins. Everybody else Skyped
No
in
way.
or something before that. But she, I mean, she lived right around the corner, so we had her over. And those are always
Yeah,
the
she's
best
pretty-
ones when we're sitting around having drinks doing Widdershins. She
Yeah,
didn't drink a lot.
wine and
Yeah.
stuff.
She didn't drink a lot, but
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah, she
Did she? Okay.
We split a bottle.
It's like we used to have Hoodoo Semois on, and I would just keep serving him bourbon and ginger ale until he couldn't stop talking. He would tell us stuff that he wasn't allowed to tell us. It was good shows.
That's great. Yeah, Patty drinks for me. I've been sober for 11 years.
Oh wow.
This February.
Yeah, I noticed
But
Patty's at Hexfest. I didn't notice. Are you there too this year?
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about coming down. I know if I'm presenting, I got to talk to Christian about that.
Okay.
But I'm definitely interested in coming down and checking it out and seeing what's going on and meeting people.
Yeah, because
So
I don't think you've been on Hexfest yet. It's just been WitchCon, right? Because we definitely would have seen you if you were here for Hexfest.
Yeah.
No, I haven't been to Hexfest yet because, to be honest with you, I'm not. I know New Orleans, and I'm not thrilled about being there in the heat. I grew up in Dubai, and I'm good for dry heat, not hot heat.
Oh my God! Last year it was only like 80. That was the high of the Hexfest, and that's it. I think it was 110 the first time we came for Hexfest. And you dash into places with air conditioning. You don't sun touch you. Probably especially not.
I'm a desert rat. I'm a desert rat. I grew up in Dubai in Southern California.
No. Dubai and Southern California. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, but we have a really big occult community here in LA.
Well, I know.
California's, the Temple of Set, the Church of Satan. There's a huge Wiccan community.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Hecate temple.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. And I go to Crooked Path Apothecary and hang out with Patty all the time and eat pizza and do rituals.
Hey, yeah, I never made it there, but there was somebody. God, one of my friends was reading there back in the day. He was doing bone readings there or something. I just never made it there. I used to go to Pan Pipes when it was at its original location because that was like a block from our house. But I think that's the only shop we went into when we lived there. There was the Green Man, which we'd gone to when we
LA's
visited.
got like 25 occult stores.
Yeah. Well, mine's Long Beach, the Eye of the Cat. I grew up in the back of that shop, and they're still.
Yeah, I actually took a pilgrimage to go out there and check it out, and they were closed. And the owner was kind enough to open it for 10 minutes for me and my friend.
She's a good friend. It's Kelly. Yeah.
Okay.
They had a fire, and they've just come back from the fire. They remodeled the places. It used to be like the dirtiest occult store, probably in the country at least. It was just but before it caught on fire, they had burned so many candles and incense in the place. It looked like it had been on fire. The ceiling was black. The walls were black.
Oh, wow.
But now it's just like I see this sparkly. I don't know when I'm ever going to come back to California, but I got to stop in there when we do because it's this sparkly new shop. And she came here and hooked up with some people in New Orleans, so she's carrying some New Orleans special stuff there too.
I was just in New Orleans last weekend to celebrate my 480th birthday.
And you didn't give me a shout again.
I was running rampant trying to keep up with all my vampire children.
Yeah.
I had 48 hours to get there. And I couldn't even see Christian because Christian was leaving the next day to go to Mexico.
Yep.
And I didn't have time for him. And my vampire kids, they don't get their vampire dad because I'm a vampire dad. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't get to see their vampire dad during Halloween because I'm so busy hosting the event.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get down there, I gotta plan time for all my vampire kids, and it's like my wife can only take off so many days of work. So
yeah. So what's up with that? You have vampire kids. Is that like your initiates, or to explain this?
Well, there's a whole variety of things. The real initiation into the vampire community is generally when you get a pair of fangs.
Mhm.
And I made a ceremony out of that just to make it like a rite of passage. But that doesn't mean you're a vampire. It means, people come to me because they want the experience of getting a pair of handmade fangs. I have another company called Sabretooth 3D, which does 3D printed fangs. And that is mail order, and you can go to sabretooth.com. Check that out. But the main thing is that the rite of passage, getting a vampire name, getting your ankh, getting your fangs, looking in the mirror. And if you want to go on the YouTube and look up "Got My Fangs," and there's a beautiful African woman that's on the video cover with her fangs on, and her name is Salorm. She's a wonderful girl. She works for BuzzFeed, and she came to interview me. And that video, I make her fangs, and that was the best example of what it's like to go through the initiation. And she's 3 years. We did that 4 years ago, and she's still hanging out in the vampire culture. A lot of journalists that come to us, I say, you can interview me only if I make fangs. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, because if I make you fangs, then you know what it's about.
Okay.
And fangs are the symbol of the vampire.
And do they snap on, or are they caps, or what is it?
So I trained as a dental technician for 1.5 years
Mhm.
back in the early 90s. And the material I use is dental acrylic.
Mhm.
And they clip on. They just suck. They fit so well, they just snap on.
Oh, so I could get some.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
snap them on. What was I going to add? The ankh. The ankh is part of the ceremony, receiving their ankh.
Yes, they get I have a little ankh that I gift them, a basic ankh. I call it the ankh. You've been ankhed.
The ankh.
The legacy ankh is the symbol of the black veils.
Mhm.
Okay. And that is the basic it's not an initiatory, the black veils are like vampire culture. Okay, like, secret handshake, the howl, all that things are each a black veil. A cocktail is a black veil, and there's about a 300 to 400 word description for each black veil. So it's a lexicon, and people can choose and pick the veils that they relate to. So what we do is we put some context and framing behind each black veil, like the color red. Why is it important to the vampire? The color silver. Why is it important to the vampire? The ankh. So the ankh, as we all know, is the ancient symbol of immortality and divinity from the Egyptians. Okay. Some claim it was a mirror. Some claim that it was a sandal. Some said it was a sash. Okay, the head would go through. There's a whole bunch of theories on where the ankh came from. But the looped cross, okay, is also known as the crux ansata. And when I was a young vampire, just a year into my fledgling world, I went to a shop in New York called Skin Crawl. And I saw a thumb claw from Interview with the Vampire that Tom Cruise wore, and I saw a bladed ankh that was based on The Hunger by Wesley Schreiber, movie with David Bowie and that French actress, I can't remember her name.
Catherine Deneuve.
Catherine.
Deneuve.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's cool. That's the symbol of the vampire, bladed ankh. But I wanted to make my own version that was unique. So about 6 months later, I was at a coffee shop, and I was told about this artist named Drennan, who was making metal manipulation work. And I was lucky enough that he was a vampire. And remember that vampire with a Y is how I spell it.
Yes.
That's the old school spelling, symbolically. And then I managed to sit down, and I was at an event called Royal Amusements by the Baroness, a latex designer in New York. She had a banquet, put me and him at the same table, and I said, I'd love you to design my company logo. And he's like, well, what do you need? And I'm like, well, let's talk. So we met up afterwards, and I told him that I wanted something that was had a loop, okay, like a crescent moon. I wanted the cross guard of the Ankh to have fangs. I wanted a curved blade, and I wanted a sheath that could go over it, and a stone holder for colored stones to show your initiation level.
Huh. And
that was September of 1996. By the end of the month, he had it waxed up, and Dredrenin was an incredible person. Okay, sadly, we lost him on Valentine's Day, 2005. He took his own life. Not very vampiric, but he was the most beloved person in the VC vampire community. He was amazing. He was just, I can't describe how gentle and pure of a soul of a gentleman this guy was. And he was an amazing metal manipulator. That was his original title, Metal Manipulator Dredrenin. And he crafted the Ankh according to my specifications. And I remember I traded him I paid him for the service. And he took about a year before I got the final piece. And that Legacy Ankh became the most coveted. That one that he designed became the most coveted piece of art in the vampire community.
Yeah, it seems like I've seen it. Is it on one of your books or something?
It's on the cover of my books.
Okay, because so as you're describing it, I'm going, yeah, the bladed Ankh. Where the hell have I seen that before?
But it's a specific style of bladed Ankh.
Yeah,
it has a curved blade like a scimitar.
Yeah.
A lot of the symbolism came from my time in Dubai.
Okay. Let's see where we're at here. Oh, wow. We only got a couple minutes left. You got websites and things to plug? Can you rattle off some of the books you publish, that kind of thing?
So if you want to find any of my books, just go to Father Sebastiaan with an IAAN on Amazon. I'm very active on Instagram. I'm not very active on TikTok. And you can find me at FatherSebastiaan.com. Father Sebastiaan on Instagram, Father Sebastiaan on TikTok. I have a TikTok thing, but I don't use it much because it's not my style.
Yeah.
I also do Facebook, and my Instagram and my Facebook are the main places to go. Mm-hmm. And if you want to get bangs, you can go to sabertooth.com. If you want to check out my events, all of them are founded at Endless Night, singular, endlessnight.com is my most popular website.
Yeah.
And the Endless Night Vampire Ball is going to be happening this year on February 19th at the Globe Theater in LA. We have Pam from True Blood hosting.
Wow.
Then we have the 20th of May in Tampa, Florida, mm-hmm. which is going to be at the Castle, an amazing nightclub. Then we have September 9th at the Hawthorne Hotel in Salem, which is going to be really cool. And then we finish the season with an amazing year called, our theme for the Endless Night New Orleans Vampire Ball is Temple of the Dark Goddesses.
Oh, that sounds cool.
So
right away.
Might have to go.
It's going to be great. We're building an installation, and we have a guy named Ricardo, who's a paper mache artist from Mardi Gras, amazing artist. And we're going to make 13 statues of Hecate, Nyx, the Morrigan, Brigitte, all the main dark goddesses, and create altars to them. And you can visit each of these goddesses and make offerings. Off the statues, paper mache statues, to a charity for educating women of color in STEM professions. So science, education, and technology.
Wow.
Because no better thing in the world than smart women. I love it.
Look at y'all, these vampires over here doing good deeds. Y'all think they're scary.
But the New Orleans Vampire Ball will be the 28th of October.
All right.
at House.
Mhm.
I would advise you to get your tickets now because I will tell you the event will sell out. We sold out last year. We got sponsored by AMC for an interview with the Vampyre premiere.
Huh. Well, hell, maybe we'll check that one out. Not night people these days, but yeah, we've been known to do it.
And make an exception once a year.
Yeah. I'll take a nap first, All right, Father Sebastiaan, always great having you on the show. Look forward to seeing you at WitchCon and hopefully Hexfest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drop my name to the Christian. I'd love to see him there.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, then. Thanks for coming on. Blessed be to you, sir. We'll hopefully see you soon. And no excuses
Take
next
care,
time
bud.
you come to New Orleans. You better hit us up.
I promise.
Okay.
I got your phone number now.
Yes.
Be careful.
Yes, you do. Save the name so you know who it is.
I did.
Okay. Me too. All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Ciao.
All right, y'all. That was our first joint broadcast of Widdershins. Also in video, Widdershins tended to be an audio podcast. People wanted to see it, so now we're doing it on YouTube and TikTok. I'm not sure if I'll do it all the time on TikTok, but y'all have been great, so maybe we will. It's just I have so many different devices using my bandwidth. I hope it didn't lag for you too much on TikTok or YouTube. I saw some people where TikTok is lagging. They jumped over to YouTube. If you missed the broadcast, you want to see anything more, you get over to Uncle Birch on YouTube and you can watch it. It'll be, I think it has to process for a few, so it'll be up in within half hour or so. Lori Brundage, we just missed you, so maybe you want to jump over there. But we are going to be popping up doing this pretty often for the next bit because WitchCon is right around the corner. And as a presenter of WitchCon, it's my job to help, advertise the thing. And I'm trying to blow those expectations out of the water. And we've been advertising the hell out of it. So we're trying to interview as many WitchCon presenters as we can. As that was going on, I saw my confirmations with Star and Ravenhawk. She'll be on tomorrow around 11:30 Central, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Ellie
Barnes coming up.
We got Ellie Barnes. We'll post the schedule somewhere when we have it, but it's kind of flying by the seat of our pants right now. We're just trying to get everybody in there that we can interview. So get over there to witchcon.com. It's going to sell out, and you're going to be really bummed if you miss it. And Uncle Birch, he's kind of hardcore, like a drill sergeant. Sometime I'm say, "What do you mean you missed it, you maggot? I told you not to miss it. I told you it was going to sell out." All right, we're going to play our outro song, and then we're going to get out. Check us out. Widdershins right now is available in probably most places that you get podcasts, but we are about to change servers. We're looking around, not really happy with the place that we start the broadcast. So we'll hopefully still be on all of those platforms where you get podcasts, iHeartRadio and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Tumblr, SoundCloud, all of that shit. But now also on YouTube and TikTok, Widdershins. And here is Fiona Horn's punk band, all-girl punk band from she was like 18. And Fiona Horn is here on TikTok as well. So check her out because she gave us permission to play the song. Can't get more volume. And with that and a couple clicks, this episode of Widdershins is over. Bye, y'all.